Like even I had it recorded off of Disney XD, right? And I would keep it there. Like even my parents are like, "All right, we need space on the DVR. We need to delete stuff." I was like, "Guys, don't delete Clutch Powers, okay?" Because I like watched it like every year, kind of as a tradition. And when our DVR broke, I was like, "No Clutch Powers! I'll never be able to watch it again." So my parents got me the DVD for Christmas.
Nice.
It was beautiful.
Anyways,
Anyways,
welcome to the Clone Boys podcast. This is episode
whoa.
1. Uh,
Uh,
for us, it's episode 1 again because this is actually our third time recording the first episode. Um, yeah, I'm really bad with OBS. Honestly, yeah, it is a low bar. Well, to be fair, I'm very much a novice at OBS. I haven't even looked up any sort of tutorials. I just kind of figured it out myself. So it's but I'm the kind of person that's like, nah, I can figure it out myself. Turns out I didn't figure it out myself. I figured it out myself after two major mistakes and failing our recordings. So I looked it up, and turns out it was a quick 5-minute fix. Should be better now. Here we go with episode 1. Yeah, I'm really sad that I wasn't able to properly record those first two because, man, we had some great conversations, and this just is going to be like a little backtracky. So, off to a bit of a shaky start, but you know what? That's kind of like my motto. So, let's just get into this.
what's life without a few shaky starts,
Of
right?
course, of course.
Let's do this.
We're going in chronologically, not from episode order. So we're starting with season 2, episode 16, which is called
Cat and
why am I
mouse.
blanking? Yeah, that's the
Cat and
name. Cat
mouse.
and Mouse. I remember.
You're
Um,
you're so good at this, you guys.
I'm the best host. All right, so I mean, what's everyone's thoughts on Cat and Mouse?
Um, all right. So first of all, I would like to point out my glorious icon here with good old Commander Blackout. So I'm a sucker for my clone boys. All right, clones are my thing. They're my guys. So I pay attention a lot to clones, and this will be a common theme I'm gonna set up right now. Is I will be bringing up lots. I have the clone expertise, and one
He
thing I will bring
does.
up a lot when talking about clones is the Republic Commando game and the Republic Commando book series. So yeah, just bear that in mind for future conversations. But anyways, Commander Blackout. One thing I want to point out, he plays a pretty minor role in this episode, but I really like the fact that you look at his helmet, he has J guys on there. So for those who are uninitiated, the J guys are helmet markings, the most famous of which are on Captain Rex. Just a Mandalorian mark of respect. So, love to see him here. As for an episode as a whole, because that was in itself a tangent, as you can see,
Mhm.
I'm the tangent guy. Well, we're all tangent guys. This is a
We all
tangent
are.
itself. Oh my goodness. Um, Episode as a whole, I kind of like using this as a starting off point for Clone Wars as a show because it sets up a lot of what Clone Wars is all about. It's Anakin being brash and kind of dumb, Obi-Wan being like, "Oh, Anakin," and clones being cool and the separatists being dumb and blowing up. That's a lot of early Clone Wars. And so I think this is a good way to set that up.
Well, I'd say I guess I'll go next. I'm not as big a fan of this episode, and I think it's just because of a lot of the plot issues that I noticed as we went along. As far as the episode is concerned, it's a bit of a shaky start, but it all works pretty well. Um, I think that it functions fine for what it's going for. There's a story to be told here, and I feel like the story is good enough that it's told well enough that I don't really have many complaints about it. At least my complaints aren't like detrimental to my viewing experience. I liked the characters pretty well. I liked a lot of their decisions. There were really maybe one or two that I wasn't the biggest fan of, which we'll get into that. I think the plot is fine. It brings up some world building issues. I guess for me, those are kind of my big things when it comes to how I judge a story is how are the characters doing, how's the plot going, and then how do these things affect the world building. And yeah, those are kind of like my biggest factors when it comes to judging a piece of media. I think that it's fine, maybe a little below average, but not the worst start to a show that I've ever seen.
I think my thoughts on it are I agree with Ryan in some points. I think there are some like plot holes, and I'll bring up this analogy that I like to make probably a few times. I can just see the writer or slash the animator sitting at their desk with Dave Filoni like looming over them saying, "Oh, you got like 15 minutes. We got 10 minutes. You're 5 minutes. You better make this episode look good. It's only like a 25 22-minute episode. You better get this right. I'm giving you only like this amount of time to do it." Um and like, there's, some of the animation, like some of the blockade stuff, it's like, you only got like so much time to display this story, and I think they do a mostly okay job of doing it. I like the idea of the stealth ship. I think that's cool. um I like naval, like, or I guess space battle stuff in Star Wars, so this one, I remember watching this one when I was younger, and I liked it because of like the space battle stuff. But yeah, it's in my opinion, it's just okay. It's nothing to like write home about. I think the idea is cool that you're having like a cat and mouse battle between a sub and a battleship, but it could have been executed just a little bit better. But you know, it is what it is for a 22-minute show aimed mostly towards a younger audience on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
understandable.
I want to cut in here for just a second. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, we've already kind of set up the general idea of the group dynamic we're having here. Ryan, the more critically minded, the more analytical brain here.
The
Uh,
big brain.
the big
Big
brain.
brain. I don't
I
like
feel like,
that title in relation to like our dynamic.
well, I think you kind of look at things more.
I'm definitely way more critical of things. I mean, I like to take things as they are, not as I want them to be. I'm like, all right, this happened in the episode. This is what I was shown. Here are the
Hmm.
problems that I see. I mean, it
Yeah.
even translates to how I go about taking notes when it comes to this episode, right? I mean, I will just write down, all right, here's what happened. Here's what I saw on the screen. Now let's talk about it. I will say one of the biggest flaws of that form of critiquing and analyzing is it just takes a really long time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've got 23 pages of notes on both episodes. It's a lot. I totally get it, and I'm not opposed to doing that. It's just I enjoy thinking things through to their conclusion, and that's usually what I'll do with like if I'm really trying to critique something, I will go through every detail that I can find and think it through.
Yeah. On the flip side, I feel like I'm more of an optimistic view on these things. Not that you're just like pessimistic. Ah, it sucks, right? But I feel like I have a more a less analytical view, more broad strokes uh, when it comes to these things. And then Kyle is kind of middle of the road. So I think the dynamic works well, especially for what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, I feel like if you were to take each of our personalities and put them, sum them up with one word, I would say Daniel is optimistic about the shows that he watches. I don't want to say I'm pessimistic. I'd say I'm more realistic. I take it as it is, and how I interpret it. I like to take my own opinion on the episode out of my analysis. I just very much enjoy hearing people talk about what they like by explaining what's good about it. rather than just saying I like it because I like it, and it's good because I like it, and I like it because it's good. That's like, I don't know, it just feels like it's getting nowhere when it could be like, I like this because the acting is really, really great in this part. I really like the character decision that goes on in X moment, and I feel like that really matches what they're doing and what they're going for with the theme. That's like, I like seeing movies and shows be good. And I like
Yeah.
understanding what's good about them and being able to point that out. I think that's,
Yeah.
yeah. There's something that I heard recently. Sorry, this is becoming
You don't
a
want
bit
to
of a
hear you don't
tangent,
want to hear
but
someone just say I like something because I like it. You want them to give some reasoning behind why they think that way.
yeah. This is a bit of a tangent, but this was a quote I recently heard that I really, really like. This is from Robert Meyer Burnett. He said, "What
Mhm.
is fiction if not the recontextualization of the human experience?" Meaning, like, what does it mean to tell a story, whether it's real or false, right? Whether it happened or didn't happen, what does it mean to tell a
Mhm.
story if you're not trying to tell it in a way that we can learn from? And I feel like the best stories are the ones that make sense. The best stories are the ones that function as if they were real, right? Especially when it comes to
Yeah.
fictional stories. Like, I prefer when a story, I can believe that this can happen even if it didn't actually happen,
Right.
because that just, it makes me have to suspend disbelief a lot less, and it's like, oh man, I'm very interested in what this is going for and what it's trying to tell me. I'll feel a lot more receptive to hearing the message that the author wants to convey if the author put the time and effort to make the message make sense.
Right. And it's not to say that it's like, oh, I don't like anything unless it's utterly realistic and true
Oh,
to
of
life.
course. Yeah. I mean, like, come on, we're talking
Like,
about a show. I mean, man, I almost said the line, the Space Wizards for Children line. But this is a show about people who can move objects with their minds. That just doesn't exist in our world, but I can believe it so long as the force is consistent within the rules that they set.
which is why people don't like the sequels because
Yeah,
of
that's pretty much it.
blatant inconsistencies like that.
Yes.
You have to suspend that disbelief of rules that have been set up within the worlds. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a tangent in and of itself. I
Kyle,
could.
what do you like about stories?
I think what I like most about stories is how like all the parts, come together to form a cohesive whole. Like, story is good. I can find something in it, I can relate to. I can find something in it that I enjoy, that I like, that, appeals to my personal taste. I think the story works well. Um the characters are portrayed well based on what that character has gone through. The acting is good, voice or voice acting is good. um the visuals, especially, and we're talking about an animated show, visuals are important. It's like essential for an animated show. The visuals look nice. The world, the characters, everything looks really good. Music is a huge part of the human experience. So, the music, causes you to feel something, or, the music uh, goes with the story really well, atmospherically or thematically. And, um, what else?
Nothing else.
Everything kind of comes to. I don't know if there's anything else. What I like about stories is that everything comes together, to form like a perfect storm to create something that people from different backgrounds, different walks of life can enjoy and enjoy together. And I think the power of stories is that it talks to people no matter where you are, what you do, and everybody can find something in a story that they like. And even if you don't agree, you don't have to agree on you know a story that you like or a story that you don't like. But the thing about stories is they speak to us, and they get ideas across to us through whatever medium that story goes through. And I think that's what I like. And I think Star Wars has a good Star Wars ever since its inception in 77. It's been good at mostly good at getting stories across to people and telling stories, and good stories for the most part. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I guess
For
we
the
will.
most. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's
I guess in this
pretty
case,
good.
Cat and Mouse does an okay job in my opinion. Not everything connects, but I think the idea is there.
Hmm.
I just don't know if it's executed to the best that it could be.
I guess
Right.
let's find out as we start to talk about it. I had flashing on the screen for a little bit there, but I will bring it back up. The title card for the episode.
Yes, they
The
always have a
title
title
card.
card.
Yes, the start of the episode always has the big theme, and as the theme is playing, it plays the title card. And the title card for this episode is "A Wise Leader Knows When to Follow." That's the title card tends to be like the theme of the episode because this is a show intended for children, so the theme, like as with most kids stuff goes, the theme is kind of just more overt than normal. I mean, for adult content, the theme can be more nuanced and it can be more subtextual. Whereas for kids stuff, it's like, yeah, it's right there because we want to make sure that the kids are getting it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not always the case. I mean, you'll see something
Yeah.
like The Incredibles or, a lot of Pixar stuff. They have good themes that are easy to convey, but also aren't like just beating you over the head with it. For Clone Wars, they take a different approach by just telling you the theme, just outright at the start of the episode. I like that a bit because it allows us to know what the author was intending to tell us, and we can now
Yeah.
have a discussion about how well did they go about telling us.
So with this one, I think we established in our definitely totally not previous episode, it doesn't do so great on this one. I don't see how this statement really applies to this episode. I suppose if we, get into the weeds of it, maybe it's talking about like Yularen, who is
Yeah.
a very experienced admiral. I mean, he's been leading in the Republic Navy since before the Clone Wars. Now has these weird Jedi guys to answer to, and this weird plan about stealth ships and all that jazz, and he just has to accept that you know this is the new chain of command or whatever. I mean, I guess you could talk about that.
You could say something about that, yeah, but I just don't know if that really connects. I don't.
No.
I think what the story was going for was this idea of Anakin not following orders, because he's supposed to be delivering the supplies and aid to Bail Organa and the citizens of Christophsis. Um, Now, I feel like that's a fine theme, and I think it's actually pretty interesting to discuss. But the reason why I take an issue with it is because they really don't explain, like, they don't go into detail why Anakin is doing a wrong thing by not following orders. In fact, the it actually rewards him for having not followed orders because he's able to defeat Admiral Trench and, you know, maybe not stop the blockade, but severely damage the blockade rather than
Enough
do
to
what he
get
was
his
ordered
ship
to
through.
do. Right? And
Break
the
a
episode,
hole open in the blockade, yeah.
yeah, and the episode ends with Obi-Wan being like, "Ah, man, you good job, man, but you didn't follow orders." And it's just like, "All right, well, that's it." Right? And
Yeah.
I can see why you wouldn't want to reprimand a character, especially in your first chronological episode. But I guess if that was the case, then you wouldn't want to make this story your first chronological episode. Maybe a better theme could have been like, I mean, now this is just coming off the top of my head. Like, do what's right, even if it's what people aren't telling you, or like, even if people are against it.
Yeah, there you go.
Because
Is that
Anakin ultimately did. I don't want to say the right thing, but he did make a choice that ended up in a net positive for the Republic when it was against orders.
yeah. And I suppose that theme also extends into more of the prequels because I mean look at Order 66
Mm-hmm.
is following that there's this whole thing uh I won't get into it, but the good soldiers follow orders, right? Which is a theme that is repeated across several episodes. And I guess this gets into that a bit of is it are you being a good soldier just by following orders, or are you being a good soldier by doing what's right?
Mm-hmm. That'd be an
Hmm.
interesting discussion. I kind of wish the episode was about that, but it was not. So I guess we want to transition this into talking about the characters.
Yeah.
Sure.
Starting off, let's talk about Anakin. I mean, that's the person we were talking about. So, um,
Very insubordinate.
yeah, he doesn't really
He
make a lot of great choices in this
he
episode.
he lives. I can sum up his strategy in one quote from a clone in this episode.
Hmm.
Um, I believe it. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's like when you're serving with General Skywalker, you're always on the offensive.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was Blackout, I believe.
Very, very aggressive. Does not like to wait around. Is impatient. Likes to take risks. And sometimes that can pay out very well, but other times it does not pay out very well.
Hmm. And here's the funny thing. I do think that he's acting in character with Attack of the Clones. So I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fault Anakin's decisions in this episode because I think they're dumb decisions, but I think they're decisions that Anakin would make. Right? I mean, so what
Mm-hmm.
he does ultimately is he's got this stealth ship and he's got to go on a relief mission to bypass the blockade and deliver troops and troops and supplies to the people of Christophsis. And he ultimately decides not to because I guess as far as the story goes, Trench recognizes what they're doing and he ends up,
He sends in the bombers,
yeah, he sends in bombers and
To
it's like,
try and
whoa.
lure them out to fight him.
Yeah.
which is kind of messed up, honestly.
And that's ultimately what they
It's
do. They're lured out,
it's
they
a I
fight
mean
him.
it's a thing that I think it's a thing it's probably been used in warfare before
Hmm.
is threaten the threaten the populace to draw out the fight
Yeah, yeah.
in your favor.
That's a pretty good tactical decision. Ultimately Obi-Wan is just like, hey, we're gonna go on the offensive to distract Trench, and both Yularen and Anakin are just like, wait, no, that's not gonna work. Let's let's fight him because we've got a better chance. We're in this stealth ship. So yeah, they go on the offensive. They shoot some missiles at him, but he's got shields up. So there's like a big talk over whether or not they'll be able to beat him with the shields and whether or not he'll be able to track them while they're stealthed. And eventually they get an upper hand on him and they're able to use his missiles and redirect them to hit the bridge and blow up his ship. And that's like the basic premise of the episode. Um so one thing that we're going to be doing for this show that I am very interested in seeing the final number in is we're going to have a war crime counter. How many times
Work.
how many times does a character that is supposed to be a good guy commit a war crime?
Is
And
it subordination a war crime or is that just a crime against not a
I
crime
think
but like a
well I think we'll count court martial offenses because I did look it up by refusing orders on a relief mission. that is a court-martial offense. If you choose to disobey a direct order and not provide aid to civilians,
Is that a court martial offense in our world or in Star Wars?
it's a court-martial offense in our world, and I would assume in Star Wars as well. But yeah, that's what we're gonna
Can't
call it.
assume
We're
if
gonna
you don't
call...
know.
I mean, okay, listen. If there
I'm
were no
sorry.
court-martial
What,
offenses,
I'm
yeah,
just challenging you.
I'm just working
challenging
on
you. I'm
common.
sorry.
I'm just working on common sense that people want, the innocent to not suffer from the actions of the guilty. So
I'm
I
just
mean, if it
messing.
turns out that there's
I'm
just like
just messing.
no rules for this kind of stuff, I'd be quite astonished, to be quite
I
honest.
I
would
would
be
be astonished.
shocked.
I would say I don't know.
I
I
wouldn't
could
call
just
this a
see,
war crime, but I
but
would.
it's like anytime Anakin does this in the show, Obi-Wan just kind of gives him a slap on the wrist and tells him no and says,
He
"You
just
don't get a
goes,
cookie."
Yeah.
"Oh, Anakin, no Oreos after dinner for you. You're not supposed to
Exactly.
use flamethrowers on
That is this
civilian
whole show.
targets."
There are no consequences.
Well, in reality, like, I feel like Anakin should get he should be maybe not expelled from the Jedi Order, but expelled from the war effort because of an action like this. But
It
clearly
would
that's not what
be.
happens.
It's kind of like in Top Gun Maverick, where John Hamm is like, Maverick just went and stole an F-18 and completed the mission successfully.
Mm-hmm.
And John Hamm is like, I don't know whether I should have you completely, court-martialed, removed from the Air Force, or whether or not I should let you lead this mission. Because there's the trope of, if you have somebody who's, very insubordinate, very aggressive, but they win, do you want to get rid of that person, or do you want to lose that resource, or do you want to,
Apparently, the
keep that
Republicans said,
resource even though it may cause trouble? Do you want to keep that resource even though it causes trouble? I
Well,
wonder if that's kind of the thing they're going for.
I think that's an apt comparison, but the differences is Maverick is doing this as a test, whereas in this is an open combat.
This is
where
just
he is
Anakin. This
fighting-
is Anakin putting lives at risk, and
and not only that, but he is fighting an adversary. He's fighting someone who can react to his actions, whereas in Top Gun Maverick,
He
wasn't
wasn't.
doing that.
Yep.
So in this, the reason why Anakin wins is essentially just because Trench is stupid. And I'll get
"Yeah,
into that.
He's supposed to be really
yeah.
smart, but he's not that smart here.
Well, actually, you know what? I guess that could be a good transition to talking about Trench.
He's
what
a
are our
spider.
thoughts on him first
he
before
is
we
a
get into
spider."
that?
He goes after every
Yeah,
sentence.
he does do the clicky noises.
He's a Spider-Man. Wait a minute.
Oh no! We're
Well,
gonna
so
get sued by Marvel.
here's what I wrote for Admiral Trench. I wrote, he's portrayed as this master strategist who can detect cloaked ships, but he makes multiple massive mistakes that cost him his life.
Very
So
very egotistical.
yeah, to explain that, because that is a pretty big a pretty loaded sentence. When they're first attacked by the stealth ship, I mean, obviously that's not gonna damage him, but it's what clues him on. He's like, oh my gosh, it's a cloaked ship. First mistake that he makes is that he doesn't regroup, right? He doesn't get other ships on top of them. And I know we had a discussion on whether or not that was him being overconfident, but if that were the case, I feel like they should explain that he's overconfident, at least portray it a little bit more than what they do, because they're also trying to
You might
portray
be
him
going
as
for
smart.
subtlety, but you're being too subtle.
Well, I mean, they want to portray him as overconfident, but they're also portraying him as smart, right? A master strategist. Like, if he's so smart, he should know that he should regroup here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pursued this hidden ship instead of like focusing on anything else, and ultimately he gave Anakin the information that he needed to defeat him, right? The fact that he says like, I've fought ships like this before, and they're just like, what does he mean by that? Let's talk with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's ultimately the big problem with Trench. But I mean, a few details being tweaked could have fixed that.
Yeah. Again, I wonder if this isn't part of it. It's aimed towards. I feel like it's episodes like this. It's aimed kind of towards a younger audience, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like everything is easy to figure out. Characters make really stupid decisions that I don't know they would make. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm not saying that
thinking.
it's not something that could be done. I just feel like if you were to make him like have stupid errors that cause him his downfall, you shouldn't portray him as this super duper smart person. And that may just be my own read of the situation, superseding what is actually said in the show. Because I guess I don't remember them saying for certain that he's like a super cunning adversary, but with the way that they portray him and the way that the main characters talk about him, it's you get that impression that he's like a very smart dude.
Mm-hmm.
I also wrote in my little discussion on who Trench is. I wrote like a what I would do if I was Trench, which that's extremely
Hmm.
maybe not. I don't want to portray myself as egotistical, but
Well,
yeah,
if I were
if
a
I were
supreme
him,
general
I
of
would have done
such
better. But I guess if I were writing for Trench, the way I would have done it is have him regroup, right? Have him bring just one ship over, and
There's
then
like
suddenly it's
there's
yeah.
like
There's an
20
entire
Lucrehulk
fleet nearby.
battleships.
Yeah, there's an entire fleet nearby, but he doesn't bring a single ship over, meaning he's like cut himself off enough from his fleet that he's the only one taking on this ship. If
He
he
has
brought
no
one
support.
more ship over, suddenly he doesn't die. Right?
right.
He has support, and yeah. I would do that. But I would also kind of push this idea of, if we're going for the theme of not following orders, I would push this idea that because Anakin didn't follow orders, like the people of Christophsis will suffer a little bit more now. And the episode would ultimately end when Anakin decides, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't be taking him on. Maybe I should just be following the orders and stick to my post," sort of thing. I feel like that would be
Yeah.
better on theme. I don't know how I'd write that. It'd take a little bit of time for me to figure that out, but that's just generally my idea. Just, some basic changes to make him more in line with what people view him to be.
Yeah.
I guess another thing that we can talk about is
Hmm.
Spark and the clones. Oh,
Yeah, Clone Boys.
I like the setup of the stealth ship. I like how like the clones interact with it. It's kind of like it's like a mix between a submarine and like one of those jets or one of our fighter jets that's more related to electronic warfare and stealth warfare. I think that's cool. Like they have these specific officers that handle like the electronic countermeasures and all that kind of stuff. It's very much like a sub or an F-117. It's like it's very cool. I like that they went deep enough with that to kind of show, oh yeah, there are clone officers who do this on this ship, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
oh yeah, I even like that their armor is different, right? It
It's different,
shows
yeah.
that they're their own post, they're their own division of clones, and yeah, I thought that was a really neat detail.
It also would hypothetically give them more action figures to sell, but lo, they only sold one of Blackout.
Only the one. It's so sad.
Not even any Legos of these guys. These are like some of the coolest looking armor.
You know
They
what?
didn't do a Lego for the stealth ship?
I would like a
Nope.
Lego stealth ship. That would be cool.
I'm waiting for the day when they add the stealth ship to Star Wars X-Wing. That would be
That'd be
fun.
fun.
Ooh.
That'd be really fun. So, anyways, this guy Spark, he shows up. So the plot of the episode, if I haven't already pointed it out, is that there's this stealth ship, and they're trying to do stuff with it. They're trying to get the resources to the people, and this guy Spark shows up. He is CT-1284. Am I correct on that?
1284, I believe so. Yeah.
1284, yes. CT-1284 is Spark. He's reporting for duty. This is like his first active mission, and we're following him and Blackout, who is training him here, or like training him on field. And it's just like, oh, all right, this is what we're doing. We're following what Anakin chooses to do, and we get a few scenes from Spark's POV of like this is how it's going out from his perspective. I think that's pretty cool. I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dear clone boys. I think this is it's very important, especially for this era of the Clone Wars. If I can turn your memories back in time to the 2005 game Battlefront 2.
Classic.
Uh, in the campaign, there was a comment that I just remembered just now. It just slammed through my brain hole about how they didn't have enough pilots, so they like trained the infantry troops to fly in like a few weeks just because they were desperate for pilots for this one mission. Obviously, that's not canon anymore. However, or if it ever was, but that gives me huge like this episode reminds me of that a bit of kind of like you have all these guys who are all set up in their armor and you feel like they should be professionals. They have their armor, they're all set up for this stealth ship, they're called stealth troopers, and one of them's just like, all right, how do we do this? And Blackout's like, all right, Scout, all right, Buccarino, come with me. I'll show you the ropes. And so it shows not only that kind of like being able to learn on the fly, it also characterizes the clone troopers that way, and also the manner of um that brotherhood of like just being willing to just like, all right, not looking down on these troopers because they're new, and more of teaching them what they need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say so as far as the canon is concerned. When Disney bought Star Wars, they decanonized all of the extended universe material. Um, but when it comes to this show, when the Clone Wars was made with the idea of the extended universe in mind, so I don't know whether or not it's worth us continuing like with the mindset of the canon. Like, should we put this in canon with the extended universe or with Disney Star Wars? I'm erring on the side of extended universe just because that's how it was made and that's how it was intended. But I guess we can lean either way.
I went on a bit of a rabbit hole, and it turns out all original 5 seasons were made before Disney bought Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
The 6th season was made after, and then obviously the 7th season was as well.
And that is before they sent Legends into Legends territory.
Into the abyss.
Well, I feel like
Anyway,
that's the majority of like the stuff that we want to talk about. I mean, I guess we could talk about Admiral Yularen. He's pretty cool.
I like you, Lauren. He's the narrator. I love that for him.
Yeah, he does narrate all of the episodes, so
I went on
that's
a
a thing.
I went on a bit of a Yularen rabbit hole after we recorded our Definitely Totally Not episode last time.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out we see him on the Death Star
Mm-hmm.
in A New
Yeah,
Hope,
he
and
is a turn maybe not a turncoat, but he continues with the
mhm,
Republic after they become
the
the
Empire,
Empire.
and he actually died on the Death Star.
Wow, that's
That's how he
interesting.
Oh,
died.
I
Where
figured that
he met his
I
end.
mean, I knew that he went down with the Empire, but I wasn't sure exactly where it came. But he died with the Death Star, the first one or the second one.
First one.
Neat. That'll be an interesting detail to see as I rewatch A New Hope.
Yeah. So, or I think we see him in that one board meeting, but and then I don't think we see him again, and it's just assumed that he was still on board when it went kablooey.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess if that's pretty much everything with episode 216, let's go on to episode 116, which is the next uh episode. It's the hidden enemy.
All right.
I have a really good summary of this episode that I've come up with. May I share?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Ahem. Ahem. The hidden enemy. The clones play Among Us while Anakin plays third wheel on a date between Obi-Wan and Ventress.
That is the most accurate portrayal of this episode. I think we can ever imagine, really.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty
that's the
much it.
episode.
I mean,
Um,
literally, this is Among Us. This is Among Us.
yeah.
This is Amogus.
Well, I guess we'll start with the title card. The truth enlightens the mind, but won't always bring happiness to your heart.
What truth? I don't know any truth in this episode.
I think I'll reiterate my point from last time. My extrapolation of the theme. So the truth that we have here is of Slick being the traitor, or just that fact that clones can be traitors, right? Which is like, aha, Slick, the traitor. We could be clones can betray things. Oh man, and that's not a very happy thought to have. So it doesn't always bring happiness just being enlightened in that way. I think that is what they're trying to get at.
I think that kind of makes sense. I just feel like, yeah, they just didn't do a very good job of portraying that in the episode, right? I mean, the idea that truth, while enlightening, doesn't make you happy. That's really not pushed in the episode at all. I think what's really pushed is this idea that that clones can turn, right? And they don't really talk about people's responses to that knowledge, just the fact that clones can turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Well, I guess instead of just going through the plot, let's kind of split it up because there's two plots that are kind of happening. But I guess we'll start with
The good one and the bad one.
we'll start with just the start of the episode, and then once the plots start to diverge, we'll get into that. Um, so it kind of starts off with Christophsis. They're in this building, this like double building,
I would like
and
to think this is taken some time after like the previous episode because now they like have a forward operating base and everything and a blockade seems like it might be broken up.
yeah, let's be fair. As far as troops on the ground goes, the Separatist blockade has to have been gone. Right, there is no blockade anymore
There could
because
still be like some ships
yeah,
operating in
there's
the area,
there's
but
probably a ship battle going on up there, but it's just not.
It's not meaningful enough for them to be able to have troops. This
Yeah,
amount of troops down, especially not the amount that we see in the movie,
yeah. It's
which comes right
clear
after
that they're
this.
both struggling with getting troops on the ground because like a big part of the episode is the Separatists trying to hit the Republic, right, the clones, hard enough that they can take the planet with one quick sweep. Whereas, that's just, that wouldn't happen if they were both deep enough into this planet that they could just supply as many troops as they need. But yeah, so basically what's happening is Obi-Wan and Anakin, they're leading this attack, this ambush on a bunch of droids that are coming through, but instead they get subverted. The droids end up ambushing them, and they get backed up into having to escape, and many of the clones die. Um, but yeah, they're able to escape, and they actually escape with this droid captain head,
tactical
right?
droid.
Yeah, tactical droid. Um, yeah, they're able to use that to figure out, oh, there's someone, someone, we got a turncoat. You know,
We
they're
have an
supplying
imposter among
information.
us.
Yeah. They're supplying information to us. Rex and Cody, you try to figure out who the turncoat is, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin decide they're going to head deep behind enemy lines to like a separatist outpost to figure out who the information is being supplied to.
Which is really stupid.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with
I think it's just a way to
the
get them
Anakin
out of the
Obi-Wan.
episode.
Yeah, we'll start with the Anakin Obi-Wan plot line. Um and we'll just talk about what that is going on. Yeah, so basically the idea is that they go into the space and what is it? We're trying to find an image. Yeah, they get to the outpost and they're just like, "Whoa, it's like not a lot of people here. We don't know what's going on." But then
And then Ventress
who's
shows
that
up.
in the cloak? Oh, that's Asajj Ventress. Never heard of her before, but she's here. Well, I guess in
Obi-Wan
terms
is
of
apparently
chronologically.
okay. Hang on,
Well,
hang on.
let's be
Obi-Wan
fair.
has clearly met her before.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
what
I
I
think
meant by that is chronologically, we've never met
Oh
her.
yeah, we've
So
never
like
met
this
her.
is
She's
the
just
first.
here.
If we're watching Star Wars chronologically, this is the first time, and they're just like Ventress, my old adversary. And it's like, oh, okay.
Is it just me, or are she and Obi-Wan flirting?
That's an interesting thing. So she takes off the cloak, and I've got some images of Obi-Wan. He does one of
It's just
those.
what the heck?
Yeah, and then yeah, he's just like, hey, that's ooh.
Hmm.
It's really weird, and like the dialogue that they use, right? I know that Obi-Wan consistently throughout the show calls Ventress my sweet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, what?
And
Okay,
she's like, my dear Obi-Wan.
yeah, my dear Obi-Wan, yeah.
It's like,
It's like,
whoa.
why do they do that? I don't get it.
And
But yeah,
Anakin's just there. Anakin's just there the whole time.
yeah, they fight for a while, and there's it's some interesting fights. By the way, this is already like 2/3 of the way through the episode. Right, it's just they fight Ventress, and that's that. They go on a fight. This is as the rest of the plot line is happening. Yeah, I like this image. It's Obi-Wan and Ventress they're locking lightsabers, and Anakin's just in the background. He's like, "Hey, what's going on over there?" It's like
Yeah.
it's really
He's literally a third wheel on a date.
Yeah.
So, okay, so pointing out there's the good storyline and the bad storyline. Honestly, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Asajj, like it's fine. It's an excuse to put in a lightsaber battle.
It is
We-
literally an excuse to have a lightsaber battle so
But
that the youngins can be happy.
you know what I hate is okay. Let me step back for a moment. I had the Lego Star Wars 3 as a kid, and
Yes, I
uh,
remember this game.
yes, it was great. The thing is I didn't hop on to Clone Wars early enough. I was too young to watch it like when it first started coming out, so I had to watch reruns of like the first 2 seasons. So one of the main ways I like absorbed the plot of seasons 1 and 2, which is what the Lego game features, was through the game. I did not know about the slick part of this episode because the game only focuses on Anakin and Obi-Wan and Asajj. That's it. It doesn't even mention
Yeah,
the
and you're
fact that
just
there's slick. The Among Us part is gone. Um I was like, what's hidden about this enemy? She's right there. You guys walk into her house and she's right there. There's no hidden nothing.
you're falling on a spider droid for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Well,
what's
I
hidden
guess
about this?
to be fair, it would be kind of hard to explain that in a Lego Star
With
Wars
grunts.
game, right? Like it would be kind of, oh yeah, this was before they were talking.
But I kind of like the grunts. Grunts are
Yeah, I
cool.
like the grunts. It's pretty fun. I can take him or leave him really when compared to dialogue, but yeah, just the idea that that's just they missed the majority of the episode, right? Like I said, by the time we reach the end of the fight, we're like 2 minutes from the end of the episode. They just go fight Ventress and they're just like, wait a second, we've been bamboozled, and they go back and that's it. The only like big detail with it is they get Ventress outside and she lands on what you said, Kyle, the spider droid. And
Yeah.
when they fight there, or right before they fight her on the spider droid, it's shown that there's a big old army and they're just like, we're about to take the planet. And Anakin and Obi-Wan must escape that. That's kind of like the idea of it.
That's it. It's just
Yeah, the only other big detail is General Loathsome is shown. And
He
he's just
is.
like, yeah, it's just,
What a
whoa, hey,
name.
that's a nice little cameo, especially for people who got into this early on, that saw the movie and then started watching the show. He's just, boom, he's there. They're just like, hey, I remember you. You were in the movie. Yeah. That's pretty much all we could say about General Loathsome now, other than, man, what a...
he's
I hate
what a
that
name.
name.
What a bad
I
name.
hate
And
that
what
name.
a weirdly shaped head.
He does have... He's got a head. But yeah, we'll talk about him more in the movie because he's, you know, much more prominent in the movie. But yeah, that's basically the Anakin Ventress plot. There's not much to it. Yeah.
Which is why I call it the
let's-
bad one.
Yeah, let's
'Cause it doesn't have
swap
my
over
clone
to
wisdom.
the better one with Rex and Cody. So, Rex and Cody, as they go through this episode, they're trying to find the imposter. The guy that is ratting out the clones. They discover this comm link that's open, and it leads to a bit of a chase that ends up in the cafeteria, in which Rex says, like, we're dealing with a brother. And I really like that as a line, right? That's a really nice bit of characterization for Rex, in that yeah, he sees the clones as a brother, like as brothers. I really like that. But yeah, they basically go through, they get R2 to, you know, check their network, see if they could find any irregularities with communications or something. And
Yeah,
that
it's like-
leads them to Slick. He is
and his
a
squad.
he's not a captain, but he's
He's a sergeant.
He's a sergeant, yeah, in charge of his own squad. And so they go to interrogate the squad.
They sure do that. I like so I have the complete character encyclopedia of Clone Wars, which includes not all of the characters. It came out like in season it was like season when it was like season 2 or 3-ish. I think it came out with the video game, with the Lego
Nice.
game. So it has about the same information. It has every single member of Slick's squad in it.
Oh, really?
However, it only has 3 of the 5 members of Domino Squad.
Huh.
So that's mad unfortunate.
Is it because they keep falling over?
Yes. Like literally.
Got him. So yeah, they go to Slick's squad and they're just like, hey, who did it? Who the imposter? There is an imposter among us. Who among us get it? Yeah, so they...
It's so funny, you guys.
It's so good. Yeah. This is definitely not going to be cringe. Like, it's already cringe, but just a year from now, we're just going to hate this. But yeah, they start interrogating people.
I like the details of their barracks.
Yeah.
Just a note. Because, like, they have
They
all
put
their
a lot
helmets.
of effort into it, yeah.
They even got, like, pinup girls, which is like, what the heck?
Oh, yeah, I got an image of that right there. Nice little poster of yeah, that's the one I think we were
Like a
talking
bounty
about. As
hunter?
if it's like Black Widow. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That looks like Black Widow, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they've just got different images of various ladies is one.
Which I mean, that's
Mhm.
like in World War II when they painted those on the side of their planes.
Yeah, I like that as a detail. It definitely helps characterize the clones a little bit more. But yeah, I feel like it's also done. One thing that's done really well when it comes to clone characterization is their facial hair, right? I mean, just the way
Oh
that they
yeah.
look. Here, let me get a good image of Slick and his men. Right, there's 6 clones in this image, but they all look distinct. At
Mm-hmm.
least in some way, right? Whether that be their sideburns, their hair, just in general,
Their
whether they have
beautiful
hair,
goatees
their
and guts.
goatees, yeah, their I mean, like it's neat because you've taken this army of just I guess for as far as Attack of the Clones is concerned, just copy pasted assets of clones, right? Because they were all CGI. You've taken
Mhm.
this faceless organization and put faces on them, and it's like, whoa, that's really cool. You get to see a bunch of them, and you get to characterize them, and I feel like that's some of the best elements of what the Clone Wars can do, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking in our first episode, discussing like what we intend for this show, and we all came to the conclusion like we want this to characterize different people. We want to see more perspectives. We want to see like what stories can be told in a war fought with clones. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
like another way of saying what does the Clone Wars have to offer.
Yeah. I think I actually talked to my brother about this a very long time ago. One of the best things that the Clone Wars does is how it treats clones, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones, it treats clones as one-dimensional characters. They're there as soldiers, they fight, that's it. When it came to the 2D animated Clone Wars, it gave them names and it gave them more to do. Clone Wars actually fleshed them out as people. It gave them emotions, it gave them motivations, it gave them differences rather than just, you know, just blank slate white armor man, right?
Right.
Like we've never
Mm-hmm.
gotten that kind of characterization for Imperial stormtroopers. We've gotten it slightly for the First Order,
Well,
with
and I
like
think that's
Finn.
what everyone was really interested in when The Force Awakens was coming out. I mean, it's not even I feel like that is what everyone was interested in with Finn. This idea of just like, oh man, we're seeing a stormtrooper because we didn't know it was the First Order at the time. We're seeing a trooper take his helmet off and have like a bit of a panic attack. Like this is
Yeah,
a lot more interesting than what it initially was. Like we're characterizing people that, we initially were just viewing as one dimensional. And that's really cool. That seems very interesting. Too bad that didn't go anywhere.
yeah.
Mm,
Mhm.
man, that had a lot of potential that they just completely squandered. Anyways, back to Clone Wars.
Back to the
Yeah,
Clone
we
Wars.
see who do they interrogate first? It's Jester. Yeah, because he's all
Yeah.
he's all nervous and he's just like, "Huh, what happened?" Well, I was cleaning my blaster, and they show that he was cleaning his blaster. They're able to see his blaster. He's backed up by I believe it's Sketch. Um,
By yeah,
it's either
by either Punch or Sketch.
yeah. Punch isn't named in the episode, but it's these first 2 clones. They're they each give their own little alibi. One of them was in the mess hall. The other one was I forget.
So yeah, Punch was in the mess hall. Sketch is just I think Sketch was in the mess hall as well. Gus was in the infirmary,
Yeah,
and
Gus
then
entered the infirmary, and it's shown because he's got the little bandage on his left arm. So, not Sketch, Gus, was in the infirmary, and you see him get all patched up. Chopper is the last guy, and he said, "Oh, I was in the mess hall." but
Yeah, the new PFP. And then
yeah, it's a new
Sketch
PFP.
goes, "No,
No,
y'all
yo,
weren't."
yeah, and the idea is, oh, he came in a little bit after everyone else, and everyone's just like, what are you doing? What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And so he reveals, oh, he was creating a little, I don't know if it's like a necklace or I'm guessing it's a necklace of battle droid fingers, which is apparently that's
Battle
like a
droid fingers.
that's like a
It's
not good. You did a
contraband.
bad, contraband, yeah. And so Sketch, he's like, "Whoa, your entire character's in question. That's not cool." Um,
Mm-hmm.
which of course sets Chopper off. Chopper's like, "Whoa, hey, whoa, man. No, I'm no baddie. I'm not
I'm no
sus."
spy. I'm not the imposter.
Yeah. But clearly, Slick is like, "Hey, you know, that's it's all right. It's all right. We'll once the Jedi get back, we'll sort things out real quick." And
Mm-hmm.
because of Slick's actions, right? He's very suspicious, to say the least, and that sets
Mm-hmm.
off Chopper. He's just like, "Wait a second, what were you doing?" And yeah, that's a whole thing. He's like, "Wait, everyone went right, but you went left. You went to the command center. What's going on?" And
Yeah, what are you doing? So like
yeah, he just has
that
no
whole
alibi.
yeah,
And
he's just like,
yeah,
and which
Cody and
makes
Rex
him
they're like, "Wait a second, you said the Jedi. We never told you the Jedi were gone."
mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty clear. Yeah, Slick was the imposter. He was the
He was
bat. He's the rat.
he's Mr. Imposter. He's Mr.
Yes.
Sus.
Yep. Um, and so he goes and he runs away. I don't have the images of it, but he blows up some pretty big stuff in the base. A lot of the ships, a lot of their technology and equipment. I believe their entire here I wrote
A
it
lot of
out.
their tanks and stuff.
Um, yeah, the weapons depot. He destroys it, pretty much the whole thing. Um, yeah, they still have some heavy cannons, but for the most part, their ships are destroyed. Um, yeah, and he's like trying to get away, but yeah, he makes his way to the command center, I think it is. I don't remember specifically,
Yeah,
and
back into the command center.
yeah, Rex and Cody they chase him in there, and he's gone, and they're trying to figure out where did he go, but because they're
And we see him
clones,
in the vent.
yeah, he
He
vented,
was
he's
vented.
sus. I don't have an image for that, but yeah, he vented, and they recognize it, so they pretend that they don't know it. So Cody sets his gun on the table and is like, "Hey, all right, maybe he's over there." And Rex pretends to leave, and Cody turns his back, which gives Slick like the idea, "I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna beat him up."
I'm gonna
And we
shoot
get
his
this
brain
lovely
hole.
image. It's the meme of it's just that meme of all the people sitting in the church pews with like pointing guns at each other. But yeah, this shot is like, "Hey, there's Slick. I got the clip. The gun's empty." And
Which, for those wondering, no, it's not just like bullets in there. It is Tabana gas, which
yeah, it's
tends
like
to benefit
it
people.
turn yeah, when they superheat it, it shoots out. It's like a pretty cool way of making blasters.
Plasma.
Plasma, yeah, that one. They shoot it at people and they go, "Ow."
That is
Um
indeed how it goes.
So yeah, they point their guns at him, and they're just like, "Haha, we win." But then Slick is just like, "Haha, I'm at gunpoint, but I'm gonna fight anyways." And for some
Because
reason,
he's
they
just
don't shoot
that
him.
cool.
They get in a fight, and he's talking about like, I'm, you guys are just blindly following orders for nothing. At least I'm, trying
At
to
least
get
I'm
something
thinking
out
for
of this.
myself.
Yeah. And Rex grabs him at one point, and he ends up they end up on the ground, and he's got Rex by the leg. I've got images right here.
And he definitely totally does not break Rex's
Yeah,
leg.
so you just look at, oh, ouch, ooh, look at that one. And
Oh,
this this image is just named Ouchie. It's just Rex screaming.
ah!
Yeah, and that never comes back. Like he broke his leg, but it never comes back.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah,
he's totally
yeah, so
fine. Oh,
Slick is just
you're
like,
fine, man.
haha, yeah, Ventress offered me money, but I wasn't after the money. I was after my freedom. And then he gets
Mm-hmm.
knocked out, and we see Rex walk him out. And it's just like, he's not even limping. It's just, okay, yep, there.
He's just walking. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, that's like not that big of it. Well, I'd say it's a big issue because it's clear that his leg got broken there, but yeah, I guess we can look over that. But yeah, this is where the plots merge. It's right at the end of the episode. Slick's got he's being grabbed behind his back, and yeah, there's a nice little conversation that happens that I guess I'll just kind of give you the bullet points of it. Um Anakin says, "You couldn't be a greater disappointment. How could you do this to your brothers?" And Slick basically says, like, the Jedi are the ones that keep my brothers enslaved, right? We do all your work. I just, I want something more. But then Rex is like, all you had to do to get it was to put us all at risk. And they just
By
don't really listen to
literally,
what he says. Like, he's just like, I
yeah.
love my brothers, but, like, I want to leave. And they're just like, oh, if you loved them, you wouldn't have put him at risk. You betrayed us. Take him away. And it's like, it's more serious than that. But I guess the reason
Yeah.
why I say it like that is just because, like, man, there's just no nuance here. They just absolutely demonize Slick. And I understand Slick did a bad thing, right? He got people killed. He sold out his brothers. They have every right to be mad. But, like, Slick, he's got a perspective that, is pretty important, right? I mean, this idea of not wanting to fight in the war, not wanting to fight in a war that he had no say in, right? I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
we got a we got a real war that happened that America
Yeah.
fought in that we didn't want to fight in. Like, what do you think happened there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about
The,
Vietnam, just to spell things out. Um,
Well,
the
well,
government said
should I
we are
put
gonna
my?
fight. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. It's my bad.
I'm trying to keep. No, you go ahead. I'm trying to keep my historical stuff under control here.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
I
I
was
I
gonna.
guess the
Sorry.
idea being like this is a
It's
war that exists, right? The galactic civil war between the Republic and the Separatists. It's happening, and it's being fought this way because
yeah.
both sides, nobody wants to fight this war, right? Instead, the Separatists are enlisting droids to fight, and instead
Mm-hmm.
the Republic is enlisting clones to fight. And it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
man, this is a perspective from a clone saying, "Hey, I don't want to fight in someone else's war," and it's just not being heard,
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting.
right? And I think the bigger thing is the fact that the Jedi themselves don't really they condemn this form of thinking when, like, when it comes to what's happening. This is a very important criticism of their way of going about things, but they're just like,
Yeah,
nah, take him away.
I'm
Take him away. So
I'm
I
struggling
think
to find what to compare it to because I don't know if I want to compare it to Vietnam because Vietnam's a lot more nuanced than that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess the what I'm trying to point out is, like, Vietnam is a nuanced, like, very interesting discussion to have, whereas this, I get it's a kids show, but,
It's
like,
very
there's
black and white.
no,
It's
yeah,
very black and white.
they make
Yeah.
something that should be very nuanced very black and white, and it's like, I guess if I were to sum this up in the basest form that I can, I'd say this is a good introduction to like a kid's concept of nuance, but I would at the very
yeah.
least end it with Anakin and Obi-Wan being like, "Oh crap, like, people have different perspectives on this, and it's led to insubordination, right? Like
Yep.
that's something we should at least be considering, and they just don't.
Kind of just brush it aside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I delved into in the most manic and chaos rabbit hole I have ever gone down in my entire existence, the Republic did cover up Slick's betrayal, or at least the reason
Do we
why.
still have the original audio on this?
I
Or
do. I will probably release that as like a little bonus thing to connect to the episode. When it came to my problems with recording, I ended up the last time we recorded this whole episode, we basically went through a slightly more detailed conversation. That's kind of why this seems like we're rushing things a little bit. We'd go a little bit more in depth, but we both all three of us have talked about this already, so
Yeah.
I'm a little bit deflated in this, just in the idea of going through it again. But I'm very excited for the next episodes. But I
I
did
will
happen to
say,
not really talk much in our last recording, which I was the thing that didn't get recorded. So we still have that.
um,
That's we have.
we oh my god, yeah. But Daniel, please give us the summary of what you found.
Yes, give us the spark
okay,
notes.
all right. So, pulling on my strings of memory here. So the Republic covered up the they covered up Slick's betrayal. However, an artist like found out the true nature of Slick's betrayal and drew art based on Slick's like his like him having free will. And this guy was very famous and it got put in this underground archive on Rhodia. And then in the era of the First Order, some art students go like spelunking, I guess, and go into this vault and uncover the drawings about Slick. All of that contrivance is just to explain why the details of Slick's betrayal of the Republic are in the book that exists both in real life and in canon, the like Galaxy Atlas in the Christophsis section. And they had to explain why it talked about Slick's betrayal if the Republic covered it up. So apparently the most obvious answer was, aha,
Art students.
college art students.
It was literally a way to put like a book in lore, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeez, quite interesting. But yes, so that's pretty much the episodes. I guess the only other thing that I forgot to point out for the last episode, let me pull it up.
I would say that this last episode, I don't know if we got to that. I would just say that this last episode I find a little weak. But I like there's some good things that they tried to say, but it just I don't think they hit it on the nail on the
I
head.
find that funny. I find this episode to be slightly better than the last one. Right? I feel like
I
this one's a little
I would say
bit
they're
more
of equal
interesting to
quality in
me.
my opinion.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
about equal. I think I listed them both between like 3.5 and 4 out of 10. Which for me, 5 is like dead center, so just a little bit below quality. Could be better, but also could be a lot worse.
I'm very biased when it comes to this episode. It just has clones in it.
It does have clones in it. That is true.
That is true.
The
Can't
It's
deny
only
that.
any episode that I can describe as clone centric, I will be ever so slightly biased in favor of because I
ah.
love my clone boys.
Mhm.
And I would describe this episode as clone centric.
I guess the only other thing that I want to point out, I actually completely forgot to point this out in our last in our first bit of the discussion with Cat and Mouse. When
Mm-hmm.
it comes to Anakin beating Trench, we get a nice little image. This is a image of Trench. He's staring out the bridge. That light in the distance is missile coming towards him. So there's that one, and I'm gonna go kind of frame by frame here. This is like right before impact. That's ooh, it's real close. It's gonna get him. And then we got
Oh,
oh no, look at that's a breach in the bridge. We gotta be careful because the air is bad. And then just oh geez, he's flying back. That's a
gee
ouchie.
willikers, guys.
Ooh. And to add
Oh
insult to
no.
injury, oh no, he's not even in the image anymore. It's just pure explosion. Ah, and then we get a nice little wide shot. That's like the entire bridge on fire. But it gets worse. Oh no, that's a lot of the ship on fire. And we get a new shot. The entire top half of the ship completely destroyed. All of that to say,
He's
I
dead,
think it's
probably.
pretty safe. Yeah, he's definitely dead, and he's not coming back ever. Right? He's
Ever.
dead.
You'll never see
There's
him
no
again.
part of him. He got vaporized.
Yeah, he's just like last time when he faced
Yeah, at the Battle of
Yularen.
Malster Narrows. I only know that
He's
because I had to look it up.
Yeah, we looked it up last time to talk about the intricacies of Yularen being a
Knowing that he exists, sort of thing.
yes.
But yes,
Ugh.
Trench, he's dead. He's not coming back. Let's just slot that one in our little memory holes. He's gone.
Yeah.
No more Trench.
No more Spider-Man.
No
Spider-Man's
more
dead.
Spider Dude. Spider-Man is dead.
He's
Guys.
gone from the Spider-Verse.
So sad. Yes. All right. Well, that's about that when it comes to the podcast. I mean, I'd say that's about where. That's pretty much it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
as far as the first two episodes go, I mean, I'd say they could be better. They could be a lot better, but I mean, yeah, like I said, could be a lot worse. As far as the start of this show goes, I think it's fine. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm interested enough in continuing it. So, right, if this was a first watch through, I'd be like, all right, I like me some Star Wars. This is, it's not the worst, right? It isn't like sequels. I'd say this might even be a little bit better than the prequels, or at least Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So, I mean, yeah, I like them. There's not really going for much, but I guess we will find out because
As we
episode
go on.
Yeah, episode 2 is going to be the movie, so that will be an interesting discussion. I don't think a lot of people like the movie.
I saw it in theaters, so
I did too. Oh my
I'm
goodness,
nostalgic.
I never
by it.
did. I have a great story to share, but I think it'll be better shared next time when we talk about the movie.
All right.
I agree with mine as well.
Gotcha. Well, I guess that will be the end of the podcast, unless is there anything? I mean, the end of the episode, not the yeah. We're done. Podcast over.
Nope, this
is
is it.
it.
They'll never see us again.
It was a nice little. It was nice going. But we're done. We're done. I'm gonna kill them when we're done. These two. I got a gun to their heads.
Yeah, I'm dead.
I've rigged explosives. In
Not
their
if I
house.
get you first.
Oh man, not this again.
I rigged explosives in your house already.
Oh man, at least is it a cool explosive? I hope it's like something cool and
It's
not
pretty
like.
cool. It's got some
I
confetti.
mean, you could
Nice
have just
little
rammed a
confetti.
plane
It's-
into my house, but
No,
Is it like?
no.
Are we talking like C4, Semtex, like a cartoon bomb? Like
I like the
IEDs.
cartoon bombs, right? I think it's gonna be like
those are classic.
I've rigged a little rope that goes all the way to your house. Once I hit stop recording, I'm gonna cut the rope and it's gonna let loose a little Acme device that just falls. Yeah, it's gonna be the anvil. It's gonna fall onto both of the bombs at your house. You're all gonna die.
Nice.
Perfect.
Very cool.
All right, sounds good to me, man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hit stop recording in 3, 2,